I had been waiting 6 long months for my custom medical equipment to arrive. 6 months of pain management, physical therapy, and navigating endless paperwork with insurance companies. So when the delivery company finally called to confirm they were coming today, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. Finally, I could start my road to recovery properly. I live in Oak Ridge Estates, a quiet suburban neighborhood filled with well-maintained lawns and cookie-cutter homes. It's pleasant enough, aside from our homeowners association, which rules with an iron fist, led by Karen Wilkins. She's a 50-something woman with a perfectly styled blonde bob and a scowl that suggests she has a permanent bad smell wafting up her nose. The delivery truck pulled up around noon, and as I watched eagerly from my living room window, I was ready to help the driver with a large package. But before I could open the front door, I spotted Karen marching across my lawn, clipboard in hand. Her face wore that unmistakable scowl of disapproval. "Excuse me," she called out to the delivery driver, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" The driver, a young man probably in his 20s, looked confused. "Delivering a package to this address," he replied, gesturing toward my house. I stepped outside, moving as quickly as I could. "Hi there, I'm the homeowner." "That package is for me," I explained calmly, nodding to the driver while trying to ignore Karen's piercing stare. Karen positioned herself between me and the delivery man. "I'm Karen Wilkins, president of the Oak Ridge Estates HOA," she announced, emphasizing each letter as if they were royal titles. "We have very strict rules about deliveries in this neighborhood." I sighed, feeling my blood pressure rise. "Karen, this is medical equipment that I've been waiting for months. It's been approved by insurance and is necessary for my recovery." She narrowed her eyes, looking me up and down as if she were trying to diagnose me visually. "Well, you should have submitted a delivery request form to the HOA board at least 2 weeks in advance. It's in the bylaws, Section 23, Paragraph 4. She tapped her clipboard emphatically. The delivery driver shifted uncomfortably. "Ma'am, I just need a signature so I can complete this delivery," he explained. Karen turned to him, her smile not reaching her eyes. "I'll take care of this package. You can leave it with me, and as the HOA representative, I'll make sure it gets processed according to our community guidelines." "Absolutely not," I interjected, stepping forward despite the pain it caused. "Karen, this is my medical equipment. It's expensive, custom-made, and I need it today." She raised an eyebrow. "Well, if it's so important, you should have followed proper protocols. This is exactly why we have rules." Her voice dripped with sickly sweet condescension, making me want to scream. The poor delivery driver looked increasingly uncomfortable. "Look, I just need someone at this address to sign for it," he said, holding out his electronic signature pad. But before I could reach for it, Karen snatched it from his hands. "As the neighborhood representative, I'm confiscating this package until proper documentation is filed with the board. We'll keep it at the community center until then." I was dumbfounded. "Karen, that's theft. You have no right to take my property." She let out a short, dismissive laugh. "It's not theft, it's enforcing community standards. You'll get your package once you've completed the proper paperwork and paid a $200 rush delivery fine." The driver looked confused as he glanced between us. "I can't just give the package to someone else," he tried to explain. Karen's expression hardened. "Young man, do you want me to call your supervisor? I'm sure they'd be interested to hear how you're disrupting our peaceful community with unauthorized deliveries." That's when I pulled out my phone. "Karen, I'm calling the police if you don't step aside right now. This is my property, my address, and my delivery." She rolled her eyes dramatically. "Go ahead. My husband plays golf with the police chief. They understand the importance of maintaining neighborhood standards." While maintaining eye contact with Karen, I dialed 911. "Yes, hello. I need to report a theft in progress." A woman is trying to steal my medical equipment that's being delivered right now." Karen's face flushed red, but remarkably, she doubled down. Despite my call, she somehow convinced the flustered delivery driver to place the package in her oversized SUV parked across the street. I felt a wave of disbelief wash over me as she secured my medical equipment in her trunk. "You'll get this back once you learn to respect the rules," she called out as she drove away, leaving me standing in the driveway, phone in hand, utterly dumbfounded. 20 minutes later, 2 police cars pulled up to my house. I explained the situation to the responding officers, showing them my order confirmation, the delivery tracking, and even pulled up the HOA bylaws on my phone to prove there was no such rule about delivery request forms. One officer, Detective Rodriguez, took detailed notes. "So she specifically identified this as medical equipment and took it anyway," he said, his expression growing severe. "The value of this equipment puts this in grand theft territory, and since it's medical equipment, there could be additional charges." He called dispatch to request officers to go to Karen's address. As we waited, I recounted the history of Karen's reign of terror over our neighborhood, the arbitrary fines, constant surveillance, and using the HOA as her personal law enforcement. Detective Rodriguez listened attentively. "People like that," he said quietly, "get drunk on the tiniest bit of power. But taking someone's medical equipment crosses the line from annoying to criminal." An hour later, my doorbell rang. Detective Rodriguez stood there with a smile, and behind him, 2 officers unloaded my medical equipment from a police cruiser. "We recovered your property," he said. Ms. Wilkins wasn't exactly cooperative, but she didn't have much choice once we explained the situation's severity. I felt an immense rush of relief as they brought the package inside. "Thank you so much." "Is she in trouble?" I asked. Detective Rodriguez's smile widened slightly. "Oh yes, she's been arrested and is currently being processed at the station. Grand theft of medical equipment is serious and a felony that carries up to 3 years in state prison and fines of up to $10,000. Just then, my phone buzzed with notifications. News traveled fast in Oak Ridge Estates. The HOA board had called an emergency meeting and sent emails about a leadership transition involving our former president. Detective Rodriguez chuckled as I showed him the messages. "Looks like her reign of terror is over. We'll need you to come down to the station tomorrow to give a formal statement." Before he left, he turned back with a thoughtful expression. "You know, we get calls about HOA disputes all the time, but they're usually civil matters. Ms. Wilkins made a serious error when she took matters into her own hands." I thanked him again as he left, then sat down beside my finally delivered medical equipment. My phone rang. It was my neighbor, Ted, the HOA vice president. "Is it true?" he asked without preamble. "Karen was arrested for stealing your medical stuff." "It's true," I confirmed. Ted let out a low whistle. "Well, the board just voted unanimously to remove her effective immediately. She's been fined the maximum amount in our bylaws too, $5,000. I was about to respond when I heard a commotion outside. Looking through my window, I saw Karen being dropped off at her house by what appeared to be her husband. She looked different. Her perfect bob disheveled, her face blotchy from crying, and her designer outfit replaced with wrinkled clothes. Our eyes met through the window, and for a moment, everything went still. I would never forget the look on her face when she realized her actions had real consequences. Not just criminal charges, but the loss of her precious position of power. Her mouth opened and closed silently like a fish out of water before she turned and hurried inside, away from the curious eyes of neighbors who were suddenly finding reasons to be outside. Ultimately, the judge sentenced Karen to 18 months of probation, a $7,000 fine, and 200 hours of community service at a medical equipment distribution center for low-income patients. When the sentence was read, her perfectly composed facade finally cracked. She let out a wail that echoed through the courtroom. collapsing into her seat as the reality of her situation hit her like a freight train. "But I was just enforcing the rules," she cried out, her mascara running down her face. The judge simply shook his head, moving on to the next case and leaving Karen to face the consequences of her actions with the same indifference she had shown to others before.